I want you to imagine for a moment that the entire universe is conspiring in your favor. That every delay, every redirection, every moment of uncertainty is not an obstacle, but a blessing cloaked in disguise. Imagine that there is not a single atom, not a single breath you take, not a single step you walk that isn't being orchestrated for your highest good. Imagine that behind the curtain of appearances, behind what your senses report to you, everything is working out perfectly for you, even if it doesn't look like it. I am here to tell you that this is not mere fantasy. This is law. This is the truth that governs your entire life, whether you recognize it or not. What you assume to be true, what you believe with conviction, becomes the life you live. You see, we are told, according to your faith, be it unto you. And faith is nothing but persistence in the assumption that something unseen is real. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you align with that law. You place yourself in harmony with the pattern of fulfillment. You walk, speak, and think from the end where the desired outcome has already happened. You do not ask how. You do not look for signs. You do not beg the universe. You simply dwell in the feeling of certainty, in the knowing that your reality bends to your assumption. There was once a woman who came to me, broken, defeated by life's apparent injustices. She said to me, "Neville, I have done everything. I have prayed, affirmed, visualized, but my life remains the same. What am I doing wrong?" And I said to her, "You are doing all these things from the standpoint of someone who lacks, who does not have, who hopes it will work out, but fears it may not. You must reverse it. You must act as if it has already worked out. You must feel the relief now. Live from the end." She began to take my words to heart. She stopped asking for change and began assuming the change had already occurred. She walked into rooms with a quiet confidence. She no longer waited for signs to believe. She believed first, and then the signs followed. The job came. The relationship improved. Her health transformed. But more than any of that, her inner world shifted. She lived in peace, in certainty, in power. You see, to act as if everything always works out for you is not arrogance. It is not delusion. It is the recognition of your divine inheritance. You are not some accidental product of chance. You are imagination itself, and imagination creates reality. Your world is your mirror. It reflects what you persistently assume to be true. What do you believe when things don't go your way? Do you spiral into fear? Do you assume failure? Or do you remember that appearances are only shadows cast by your inner light? I tell you, everything can change in an instant if you will. But assume it already has. You must feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must enter the state of the solution, not the problem. I have said before, and I will say it again, man is all imagination, and God is within you as your own wonderful human imagination. When you imagine that everything is working out for you, and you feel it deeply, you are speaking the language of God. You are commanding the world to take shape in your favor, and it must obey. It must. Do not be swayed by the evidence of your senses. Your senses show you what has been, not what must be. The moment you accept a new idea and clothe it in feeling, you have planted the seed. Whether or not you see immediate results is irrelevant. The seed is growing, and if you persist in the assumption that everything always works out for you, that seed becomes a tree, and that tree bears fruit. It is easy to believe when everything looks favorable. But the true power is found when you believe in spite of appearances. When the world says no, but your inner world says yes. When the bank account is low, but you walk as one who is already abundant. When the relationship seems lost, but you live from the state where love is already restored. How does one live like this, you ask? You begin with imagination. You close your eyes and see not with the eyes of flesh, but with the eyes of spirit. You imagine what it would feel like if you knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that everything was working out. You let that feeling saturate your being, and you carry it with you into the waking world. That feeling is the prayer. That feeling is the key, for feeling is the secret. Think of a time when something seemed to go wrong, but later you realized it was the best thing that could have happened. Think of the jobs you didn't get, the people who left you, the delays that frustrated you. All of them, in hindsight, were not mistakes. They were stepping stones. They were divine redirections. What if you could trust that in every moment? What if you could live from that trust now? The truth is, you already are the person who has everything working out. You already exist in that state. All states exist. Creation is finished. Your task is not to make something happen, but to select the state you desire and dwell in it. You move from one state to another by assumption, by conviction, by persistence. Every time you say to yourself, "It's always working out for me," you are reaffirming your place in that state. You are shifting your identity. You are becoming the one who lives in alignment with divine favor. And the world, being a faithful mirror, must show you what you assume. Let me remind you that it is not effort that brings about change. It is not struggle. It is not hours of laborious prayer. It is simply the acceptance of the end. If you can accept the end as real, now then the means will unfold naturally. Life will rearrange itself to reflect your inner world. I once knew a man who lived in constant fear of things going wrong. Every small inconvenience became a sign of doom for him. And surely life obeyed. His car broke down, his health suffered, his relationships crumbled. I told him, "My dear friend, you are not unlucky. You are simply faithful to the wrong assumption. Change it." He began to test this truth. He began to say, "Everything is always working out for me," not with hope, but with certainty. And though at first nothing seemed different, he did not waver. And then miracles began to appear. Unexpected checks arrived. Opportunities opened. He smiled more. He slept better. He had become someone new, not by doing more, but by assuming more wisely. You must decide right now that you are done entertaining doubt. You must become faithful to your vision, not your fear. Faithful to your future, not your past. The world you see is the outpicturing of your assumption. You do not change the reflection by scratching the mirror. You change the reflection by changing yourself. I am telling you, act as if everything always works out for you. And by act, I do not mean to pretend. I mean to live from the truth of it. Think from it. Feel from it. Let it be your inner atmosphere. And as within, so without. The law is never broken. The law is always working. It is your servant, waiting for your instruction. What would you do if you knew that success was guaranteed? What risks would you take? What steps would you stop delaying? What words would you say? What love would you give? What dreams would you pursue? Act from that version of yourself. For that version is not a fantasy. It is you, clothed in courage and trust. You are not here to merely react to life. You are here to create it. You are here to mold it with your inner conversation. Listen to what you are telling yourself when no one is watching. Are you affirming the outcome you desire, or the one you fear? Change the conversation. Begin to speak only that which you want to see realized. I am always supported. I am guided. I am favored. Life loves me. Things always work out for me. You will find yourself walking differently, talking differently. People will notice your energy. They won't be able to name it, but they will feel it, because you are living from the end. You are living from the kingdom within. The power is not outside of you. It never was. It is in your ability to assume the best and persist in that assumption. No matter what the outer world says, you stand firm in your inner knowing. That is true power. That is mastery. I urge you to test this. Not tomorrow, but now. Begin this moment to act as if everything is working out for you. When something unexpected happens, smile. Say to yourself, "I may not see the whole picture yet, but I know this is part of it working out." And soon you will see the pattern. You will see the wisdom in every turn. You will live with peace because you will know the truth. Your job is not to control the how. Your job is to maintain the inner state. If you can do that, the rest will take care of itself. Life responds to the dominant assumption. And when your dominant assumption is that everything always works out for you, then life has no choice but to conform. You are the author. You are the dreamer. You are not a victim of fate. You are a creator of form. And what you imagine in faith, you will encounter in fact. So go forth from this moment on, with the knowing that you are already on the path. Everything is unfolding perfectly. Trust that. Assume that. And act as if it cannot fail, because it cannot. You were never meant to struggle, to chase, to fight against the tide. You were meant to align, to allow, to assume with confidence and joy. Life becomes effortless when you live from the end. When you claim the feeling of already having that which you desire. The universe bends to your conviction. You are divine imagination. That is your true identity. And your world is clay in your hands. Mold it with love. Mold it with certainty. Mold it with the deep, unwavering knowing that everything is always working out for you, and it shall be so. Let us go deeper still. You must understand, this is not merely a psychological trick or a motivational mantra to make you feel better in the moment. This is metaphysics. This is law. This is the foundation upon which reality stands. The very moment you dwell in the inner conviction that everything is working out for you, you set into motion forces unseen that reshape the entire fabric of your experience. And while the change may not always be immediate to your senses, it is immediate in the realm that precedes for. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you stop fighting with the world. You stop resisting what is. You surrender, not in weakness, but in faith. You cease arguing with appearances, and instead you plant your feet firmly in your assumption. And that assumption becomes your new foundation, your new center of gravity. From that center, you can move mountains. To the world, it may seem irrational. It may appear foolish. They will say you are unrealistic, that you are ignoring facts. But I say to you, the facts are only shadows of former beliefs. They are the residue of prior assumptions. If you would but persist, the facts will change. The outer must follow the inner. It has no choice. It is law. Take no thought for the morrow, said the master. Why? Because he understood that worry, doubt, and fear are nothing but prayers for what you do not want. Instead, he pointed us toward the kingdom within. He taught us to live from the state of already having. When you pray, believe that you have received, and you shall receive. This is not metaphor. It is instruction. Precise, divine instruction. Now imagine walking through your day with the inner knowing that life is unfolding in your favor. A delay at the airport, this is part of it working out. A rejection from someone you love, this too is working for me. An unexpected expense, even this is a setup for greater abundance. You start to live from the end of peace, not turmoil. From the end of success, not failure. The more you live in that state, the more your world becomes ordered by it. You draw to yourself people, events, and opportunities that match the tone of your inner world, not by trying to control them, but by embodying the version of yourself to whom these things already belong. You don't have to beg for anything. You don't have to hustle, chase, or strive. You have only to dwell in the state of knowing, the state of gratitude before the manifestation, the state of the wish fulfilled. You walk through life with an invisible crown on your head, not of arrogance but of assurance, because you know who you are. You know that your assumption is causative. You know that you are one with the source that forms the heavens and the earth. When you forget, because we all forget, come back to the state. Close your eyes and remember. Feel again what it feels like to be supported, loved, protected, favored. Feel it in your bones. Feel it until it feels real. For that is the test. Can you feel something so deeply that it becomes more real to you than the evidence of your senses? If you can do that, the world must catch up. It must reflect your inner knowing. The world is not solid. It is not fixed. It is fluid, malleable, shaped by consciousness. What you assume to be true hardens into fact. So why not assume the best? Why not assume that everything, yes, everything, is rigged in your favor? You must understand that this is not something that works only sometimes. It is working always. The question is not whether the law works, but what are you impressing upon it? Are you filling the mold of your mind with faith or with fear? Are you rehearsing limitation or celebrating fulfillment? If you want to change your life, you must change your assumption. And to change your assumption, you must first catch yourself in the act of doubting. Notice the story you are telling yourself throughout the day. Is it a story of what if it doesn't work out, or is it a story of everything is already working out? Let me remind you, you don't need permission. You don't need evidence. You don't need anyone to agree with you. You need only your imagination and your willingness to dwell in the end. The end is what gives life to the means. The end is the cause. Live there and you will watch the whole world rearrange itself around your conviction. You are not here to try. You are here to be. You are not here to hope. You are here to know. And when you know deeply that everything is working out for you, you become immovable. You become unshakable. Storms may come, winds may howl, but you remain centered. You remain still, because your peace does not come from circumstance. It comes from assumption. It comes from the state within. That is true mastery. Not the ability to control events, but the ability to maintain your state regardless of them. The outer world becomes a theater in which your inner world plays itself out. You are the writer. You are the director. You are the actor, and the script is whatever you assume it to be. Now let this not be merely theory for you. Test it. Try it. Begin now. Pick one situation in your life that appears uncertain. Close your eyes and see the outcome you desire. Feel what it feels like to know it is done, to know that it is already yours. Carry that feeling with you. Do not drop it. Let nothing persuade you otherwise. And then observe. Watch how life moves. Watch how things align. Watch how miracles unfold, not because you forced them, but because you assumed them. You are never waiting on the world to change. You are only ever waiting on yourself to assume the change is already complete. When that inner shift happens, everything changes. People begin to treat you differently. Circumstances turn in your favor. Doors open. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. All of it begins with one simple truth: everything is always working out for you. Let that be your mantra. Let that be your prayer. Let that be your dominant thought. Whisper it when you wake. Declare it when you walk. Sing it in silence. And in time, you will see that it was never the world that needed to change. It was only ever your assumption. You do not need to earn your good. You need only to accept it. And when you accept it as already true, life must match your acceptance. This is not hope. It is law. This is not magic. It is principle. Assume it is done. Feel it is done. Live as though it is done. And it is done. Now let us bring our attention to the simplicity of this practice. Many make the mistake of complicating the law. They seek advanced techniques, rituals, affirmations, and elaborate routines. But I tell you, it is the simplest act of all that yields the most profound results. The act of assuming, of entering the state, mentally and emotionally, and remaining there. You do not need a candle. You do not need the perfect moon phase. You do not need to repeat something 100 times. You need only to know it is done. What is assumption, if not a silent agreement with God? When you say in your heart, "This too shall work in my favor," you are aligning yourself with the divine intelligence that orchestrates all things. You are stepping into the current of life rather than fighting it. You are surrendering to the truth that all things are unfolding exactly as they must, to bring you to the manifestation of your desire. You may not always understand the path. You may not always see why certain detours appear, but I assure you, when you persist in the inner state, those detours become miracles in disguise. They become the invisible hand of grace, moving people, circumstances, and events with precision. But you must remain faithful, not to what you see, but to what you know within. There will be moments when everything around you seems contrary. The outer world will tempt you to abandon your assumption. The bank account may empty. The person may walk away. The opportunity may vanish. But these are merely tests, not from some punishing universe, but from your own deeper self. It is your inner reality, asking, will you remain loyal to the state, or will you react to the shadows? If you remain loyal, if you if you walk in the knowing that all things are working for your highest good, you will witness the rearrangement. You will look back in awe and say, what I once called a setback was my greatest setup. What I once called a problem was the portal to my answered prayer. This is how the law works. It bends to belief. It conforms to conviction. And conviction is born not of repetition, but of identification. You must identify as the one for whom everything always works out. Not sometimes. Not when you're lucky. Not when the stars align. Always, even now. As you hear these words, you are being invited into that state. You are being called to remember who you are. Not a victim of life, but the cause of it. Not a wanderer in chaos, but a creator in command. You were never meant to struggle. You were never meant to strive. You were meant to assume, to feel, and to receive. How do you know when you are in the state? You feel relief. You feel joy without reason. You smile at the silence. You are no longer grasping, chasing, needing. You are still. You are certain. You are aware that what you seek is already yours in the unseen and therefore must come to pass. Do not concern yourself with when. Time is the servant of assumption. It bends and folds around your belief. What takes others years may come to you in days. What others must labor for, you will attract with ease. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. You are aligning with the greater truth that your inner world is primary, and the outer must echo it. You need not convince others. You need not argue with logic. Simply remain faithful. Carry your inner conviction quietly, like a secret treasure, and let the fruits of your faith speak for themselves. For when you live in the state of everything is always working out for me,
your life becomes a testimony, a walking miracle, a living prayer answered. Others will ask, how did you do it? And you will say, I assumed, I believed, I felt, I walked as though it were already true, and the world had no choice but to reflect it. Let this be your daily practice, not effort but assumption, not hustle but inner rest. Wake in the morning and step into the feeling. Walk through your day and return to the feeling. Rest at night in the peace of the fulfilled desire. Do not waver. Do not look back. Press forward in faith. When the winds of doubt blow, you anchor yourself in the state. When fear whispers its lies, you reply with your truth. Even this is working out for me. You speak it until it becomes your dominant vibration. And once it does, the world around you cannot help but align. You are not asking the universe to bless you. You are recognizing that it already has. You are not trying to create. You are revealing what is already true in the realm of spirit. You are simply moving from knowing to knowing, from fulfillment to fulfillment, without resistance. It is here, in this sacred inner posture, that miracles become ordinary. What once felt like fantasy becomes your new normal. You begin to expect the best, not because you are naive, but because you are awake to the truth of who you are. You are God in motion, imagination clothed in form, and when you assume, you create. So do not wait for the evidence to begin believing. Let your belief be the evidence. Let your assumption be the cause. Let your inner world dictate the terms. Everything you see, touch, and experience is but the echo of a prior state. If you would change the echo, change the state. Now pause and breathe. Feel the truth of these words, not in your mind but in your spirit. Let it settle. Let it take root. Begin to walk with the poise of the fulfilled. Begin to speak from the place of completion. Begin to look upon the world with eyes that see beyond appearances. For the unseen is more real than the seen, and what is real in imagination shall become real in form. I say to you again, act as if everything always works out for you, because it does, because it must, because you have declared it so, and your declaration is the seed from which reality grows. And so, beloved, let this be your final awakening. You are not at the mercy of fate, chance, or circumstance. You are the operant power. Life is not happening to you. It is happening through you, as you, for you. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you are not pretending. You are proclaiming. You are standing